You know, April is one of my favorite times of the year because it is the launch of convention season. And here in the Midwest, you can't do any better than starting things with the Midwest Gaming Classic. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs, and today we're recapping our trip to the Midwest Gaming Classic. And this year started out amazing. Myself, my wife Meredith, our son Victor, all loaded up with Chris from the Game Dad Show. We hauled a trailer over, and we made our way across 4 states through Chicago to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Chicago did have other plans for our travels, though. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, as Chicago is wont to do, there was a lot of traffic because that's just kind of how Chicago rolls. But we made our way to Milwaukee. We got there. We were staying at an Airbnb with our friends Thor from the Hey It's Thor channel and Rob from Retro Rob. And it was awesome to be able to spend time with them outside of just being online. Now, I've known Thor now for years, and Thor's a dear friend. He's Thor's family at this point. And it was great to be able to spend time with Rob. This is his first time at the Midwest Gaming Classic. And he's such a wonderful dude. To be able to spend time with him was just super cool. We went out that night to dinner because we weren't going to have a lot of time to go out to dinner for the rest of the week because we had a lot of stuff going on. Chris, Thor, and I were all vending, so we weren't going to have a chance to really break away from our tables all that often. So that first night on Thursday, we made our way to one of our favorite locations in downtown Milwaukee, the Oak Barrel. Now, if you haven't been to the Oak Barrel has incredible pizzas, has amazing burgers, awesome food, great appetizers, curds to die for. Like, legit, some of the best cheese curds I've ever had. It's just an awesome place. And it was really cool because there was a concert going on that night, so the place was dead. We basically had the restaurant to ourselves for the entire time we were there until we left, and then it started filling up again. So, fortuitous timing on our part. But after that, we headed back to the Airbnb. We got some sleep because the next day was a big day. It was workshop day. Both Meredith and Chris were hosting workshops for the Midwest Gaming Classic this year. Meredith was hosting one where she was reshelling Joy-Cons as well as replacing the joysticks that are native to the Joy-Cons with Hall effect sticks. And it was really cool. We weren't expecting a lot of people to sign up. In fact, up till the day before, I think there were only 2 signups on the page, but we ended up having like 5 people, and it was really awesome. Lindsay from LL Cool Games and Torg was there, so it was really cool to spend time with Lindsay. She got to meet Meredith. They're thick as thieves now. They're basically best friends. It was awesome. And we got to see a lot of other folks as well. Chris also had 2 workshops going on as well, where he did a reshell and a screen replacement on a GBA, as well as one on a GBA SP. Now, as cool as those were, my favorite moment was getting to see Meredith and my friend Jesse, aka Jester Pez, play the piano together. Now, I'm really disappointed because the audio did not record. I was trying out a new mic on this show, and I did not get the audio, but to hear them play Heart and Soul together and to just, both of them lit up when they started playing. It was amazing to see, it was amazing to experience. But that night was a rough night because that night was unloading, setting up, and getting everything ready for the next day.
It's right by the Ecto 1 and the old Batmobile.
Directions you're only going to get at a convention. It's down by the Batmobile and the Ecto 1. That's only at a convention will you hear those directions. Friday night, we were also lucky enough to see Gary from Rock Solid Productions. He made the drive up. He crashed with us at the Airbnb that night. It was just awesome to see him. Gary's such a wonderful guy and one of my favorite people. So to be able to spend time with him both that night at the B&B and the next day at the show was really cool. And we get to see his daughter Cassie, which was super cool. And so many other people as well. Like, I got to see John Hancock and John Riggs, 2 of my favorite people. I got to see my friend Justin. I got to meet Linda the Gamer Gal for the first time, which was really cool. And it was just a really awesome show. Now, I'm going to be missing people that I met, and forgetting about people that I talked to. There was a lot going on over the 3 days of the show. So I apologize if I don't mention you here. And I also want to apologize for some of the audio quality that you're about to hear in some of the video because it was a little bit bad. I had a new mic, as I mentioned earlier, and I didn't adjust the gain properly, so it's a little bit hot, a little bit crackly. I'm gonna do better next time, I promise. Korgs will be significantly better. But yeah, so we're just gonna recap the show now and just kind of run through things.
Oh, it's time. It's time for the Midwest Gaming Classic. Look at some of the stuff that Chris is selling on his table. And then whip pan over to my table, show some of the stuff I'm selling.
The show itself is massive. It's wonderful. It's a great time. And one of the things that I decided, and this was directly as a result of a channel I watch called Jacob the Carpetbagger, who does travel vlogs, and his travel vlogs are amazing. And one of the things I really like about it is that he tends to do features every season, and this summer is the summer of the pressed penny for him. And I decided that this year was going to be the summer of SEGA for me. So while I'm not going to focus solely on picking up SEGA products at conventions, it is going to be the main focus. You'll actually see a few things that we did get that were not SEGA related at the end of the video when I get to the pickup section, but the show itself was amazing. There was a massive, massive vendor presence. The arcade was huge. There were some really cool independent developers featured, which I always love. I do love to see that. I got to do a panel on the bonus stage with Tiger Chainsaw and Lame Dad, who, two of the best guys out there. Just, it was awesome to be able to talk about my love of the Sega Genesis and collecting for the Sega Genesis and show off that you can build a collection for under $100, and I did it live at the show. I had 1 hour in the morning where I was able to get out. I spent $100, and I found a stack of games that I thought was pretty cool.
I wanted to set myself a limit of $100 and find quality titles for the Genesis without breaking that budget, because I think anyone can do that, and if it's a system you haven't collected for, there's an opportunity there to collect for it. So we're going to start things off with my favorite Sega Genesis game.
Really big thanks to everyone who participated in the panel. It was really awesome to see everybody there that was asking questions and was engaging with the show. It was really great. And it's also great to just see TC and Lame Dad, because both of them are just wonderful folks. And it was awesome. You know, one of the best parts about any convention is the ability to get together with your friends. And as tough as the show was, and as busy as it was, and as like crazy as everything was, like it was just non-stop from jump, there were plenty of just like small quiet moments that happened throughout the show that were just so invaluable and so awesome to be a part of. Case in point, Sunday morning. So we weren't able to go out to breakfast Saturday morning just because we had to be at the vendor hall so early, but Sunday morning we were able to, kind of catch our breath a little bit. And we went out to breakfast at Build-A-Breakfast, which is one of our favorite locations in Milwaukee. The thing I really liked was that Sunday morning was my friend, the immortal John Hancock's birthday. And going to Build-A-Breakfast, which is one of our favorite locations in Milwaukee, was a treat because we got to spend his birthday with him. And this happened.
Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
And that wasn't the only thing we did for John. John also got a bunch of cupcakes from the folks from Mortal Kombat that were there, which was super awesome. We decorated his table with balloons. We went and bought a bunch of pink balloons for him the night before at Walmart. So we decorated that. He walked around with a balloon on his head most of the day.
You got something on your head there, buddy.
Oh, I know. It's a celebratory balloon.
Why is that? Because it's your birthday!
I love John. John is one of my best friends. He's someone that I think is just, he's just the best. He's just such a great guy. And to be able to spend time with him was just awesome. And to be able to spend his birthday with him wasn't something I expected to do, but it was something that I really appreciate the opportunity to do. We live on opposite sides of the country, and we don't get to spend a lot of these moments with each other. So for him to be there and for us to be able to do that with him, first off, Sarah, thank you for letting him go. But thank you, John, for letting us be a part of your life and to be able to celebrate this moment with you. One of my favorite people from the show that I got to see was Frank from Premium Edition Games. Frank is amazing. He hosts the show Super RPG Friends on Twitch. He's also got a presence here on YouTube, so if you have not subscribed to his work, please do so, because Frank is amazing. And it was just so cool to be able to see him. He was walking around filming the whole weekend. I don't actually know if I got any footage of him, but I wanted to make sure I called him out here because Frank's just such a great dude. He went out to dinner with us at Doc's as well. Frank gives the best hugs, so if you do get to be friends with Frank, be prepared to get the best hugs.
Here with Game Dad, and we have been told to try this by our boss.
I like these normally. We'll see if I still do.
Okay, Carl, this one's for you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
I mean,
It's like,
it's not bad.
it's not Dr. Pepper.
It's like cherry.
Yeah, it's like a weird cherry float.
It's not bad. It's not good.
No,
No.
never again. No,
But we have 3 more. We should finish them.
we have 8 more.
Oh, God.
Sunday was kind of the quiet day. Things slowed down considerably. The vending was definitely lessened up just because mainly we had sold so much stuff. I brought a lot of really neat stuff with me. I was able to sell my Earthbound Player's Guide. I was able to sell it to someone specifically that was looking to complete their Earthbound Complete in Box set. They'd bought the game and they had bought the box earlier in the day, but they had not seen the guide anywhere. So for me to be able to provide that, so they now had their Complete in Box game, was just awesome. It was just such a cool feeling to be able to do that for him, and I know how excited he was. And if you watch, dude, I'm so stoked that you have one of the greatest games of all time now, CIB. That's just ridiculously cool.
Well, we're at the end game now. This is the probably last 30 minutes of the Midwest Gaming Classic. Things are definitely calming down. People are making their last purchases, but It's been a good show so far. Very good show. Sold some stuff, bought some stuff, saw some good friends.
And the show ended. The show wrapped up. We were able to go to the World of Nintendo display. We were able to...
One of my favorite exhibits every year is seeing the World of Nintendo setup. Always cool to start off with Iron Mike Tyson, who's about to beat up Jake Paul. Little Dr. Mario action up there.
We were able to go to the makerspace, which was really cool.
This is the console makerspace. All kinds of cool stuff here.
And even the guy was like, why doesn't this one have HDMI? And she's like, I don't know, who cares?
Dream Extreme, portable Dreamcast.
Dude, it's like, I'm so glad the supervisor does not
The Cube
care.
Boy.
These wires aren't hot enough.
That's the dream.
These wires aren't hot enough.
And we were able to go walk around the arcade.
I do love the arcade here at the Midwest Gaming Classic. It's just a cacophony of sight and sounds, and it's just so cool to see so many people just playing games they love and having a great time on pinball and arcade machines. It's just awesome. One of my favorite things. So this is Dungeon Guy.
Sure is.
And this is wish listable on Steam right now, correct?
Sure it is. We got a QR code. We also got some handouts. We also have a demo, the latest build on itch. You can download for free. Just working through. We're in alpha right now. Doing regular updates, working on various things.
Awesome.
Just implemented an inventory system. Share.
Also, pro tip: always get the cup at Wild Bill's.
I don't think there's a better way you can start convention season than by going to the best video game trade show out there, the Midwest Gaming Classic. Dan and the crew do just such an unbelievable job hosting this event and putting on what is one of the best entertainment experiences that you're going to get, celebrating our love of video games, celebrating all things gaming, whether it's retro or modern. It's embraced, it's appreciated, it's adored, and it's endorsed here. And Dan and his team are just brilliant for being able to do this as well as they do. I appreciate them. I appreciate everything that they have done for the video game community as a whole, because without them, the Midwest has some great shows to be sure, but starting things off every year in Milwaukee is just something I look forward to. I've already made plans for next year's event. I'm already sure I'm going because it is my favorite trade show to attend.
Midwest Gaming Classic 2024 is coming to an end. Fantastic show. Absolutely wonderful time. Always a joy to be here. One of my favorite events of the year. Probably my favorite convention, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I think there's just something awesome about being here. If you haven't come to a show before, you really should get out. There's always a local show happening in your area. Be sure to look it up. Be sure to attend, support your local gaming community.
But pickups. Pickups are always something that folks want to talk about at a show like this. And I did mention that this is the summer of Sega, so I'm going to get the non-Sega stuff out of the way. First, I did pick up 3 things from Nintendo. Well, one of them was picked up for us by Chris from the Game Dad Show, and that was Meredith's copy of the collector's edition of Ocarina of Time. She's been working to complete her Zelda collection, and one of the things that we've kind of danced around was Ocarina of Majora's Mask, because we have them on the 3DS, but I got her Majora's Mask last year at KorgsCon with the lenticular cover, and I wanted to find her a copy of Ocarina, but I didn't want to get her the gray cart. I wanted to get her the gold cart. And Chris ended up finding one for $80. She is ecstatic that she has that. She also picked up a bunch of guides this week. These are all from Chris, too, which I think is hilarious. Zelda the Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, Skyward Sword, and Majora's Mask 3D on the 3DS. So the lady loves some Zelda, let me tell you. So seeing her get excited and collect these things just makes me happy, because I know how happy it makes her to be able to have these things in her possession. And thank you to Chris for both allowing us to buy those guides and for picking her up Ocarina of Time. One of the other things that we did before I get to my pickups is Chris and I made sure our friend Thor, who is one of the most giving people that I've ever met, wanted to get a copy of Chrono Trigger. And Chris and I were looking for a couple of weeks leading up to the show trying to find a copy of Chrono Trigger, because ideally I just wanted to leave it on his pillow when he got up in the morning and just be like, oh, look, the Chrono Trigger fairy brought something for you. But I wasn't able to find a good deal for it. I wasn't able to find it at a decent price. But at the show, Thor actually found one for a couple $100, which is not bad for that cartridge. And Chris immediately jumped on it and told him no and bought it. And Thor got very upset, but Thor was also part of getting me that Game Gear. I know he's gotten stuff for Chris. He helped Chris completely wire up his basement for his ultimate game room. Thor, you've earned it. Don't worry about it. Enjoy it. You deserve it. You're such an unbelievable human being, and you're just the best. So Chrono Trigger, trust me, is the least we could do for you because you have done so much for us. And I can't wait to go camping this summer. As I mentioned, I saw Frank from Premium Edition Games and Super RPG Friends at the show because Premium Edition Games is set up. They are my favorite limited print run game company out there. They're my favorite limited, they're my favorite Switch publisher, let's put it that way. And one of the games that I've wanted to pick up, I've got most everything that they've released at this point, but one of the games I wanted to pick up was Eagle Island Twist. Now I was contended to buy just the retro edition, but then I saw this one, and I was pretty well convinced I was going to pick this up. And then Meredith saw this one, and I knew I was going to pick it up. But yeah, we got a plushy eagle there. He comes in a crate, and it ships with the game. So really, really excited to be adding Eagle Island Twist to the collection because I've heard nothing but positive things about the game. Very excited to play it. I haven't even unwrapped it yet, but that'll be coming soon. So Eagle Island Twist, very stoked to add it. Very stoked to play it. I've got two more Nintendo things to show off. This one is from my friend the immortal John Hancock. This is a copy of his game Tortoises on the Game Boy Advance, signed by the immortal one himself. Very excited to play this. It's a maze game. I've never played it before. I'm really looking forward to trying it out. I've heard nothing but good stuff about it, and something I have been on the lookout for a while that I've wanted to add to my collection. I've told you guys repeatedly how much I love Epic Mickey, and I make no apologies for that because I love Epic Mickey. I'm a huge Disney fan. And when I discovered that this thing existed, I had to have it. And to my shock, Chris was selling one. It was a foot away from me the whole weekend, and I said at the start of the show, if it's still there at the end of the show, I will buy it. And lo and behold, the paintbrush nunchuck was still there at the end of the show, and I bought it. I'm so excited to have this because it's just such a weird piece of memorabilia, basically, for the game. It's such a weird thing to have, period. Like, what a strange addition, what a strange accessory. There's also one for Epic Mickey 2, that's the clicker controller, so I gotta track that one down next, but for right now, very excited to have the paintbrush, and when I play my Epic Mickey, when I do my Epic Mickey playthrough soon, you better believe I'll be using the paintbrush to play it. But now we are on to my pickups from the Summer of Sega. Now, Summer of Sega can involve many things. It can involve an SG-1000 console, which I will be looking for. It can involve Game Gear games, because I now have a Game Gear. It can involve the Sega Genesis, my personal favorite console to collect for. It can involve the Saturn, and it can, of course, involve the Dreamcast. And that is where we're starting things off, because for Dreamcast and the 32X and the Sega CD, of course, I've got those as well. Those are kind of in the Genesis umbrella, but starting things off with the Dreamcast. This is a game I had and I sold years ago, and I've just never picked it back up because I got it elsewhere. I've got it on Steam, but I don't have it on original hardware until now. And that is Crazy Taxi. Legitimately one of my favorite arcade experiences. I think it's a fantastic game. I'm very excited to have it because I just love it. It's got some stickers on it. It was a rental copy, you can tell, but the disc is in pretty good shape, and I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me at all. The rest of everything is Genesis. All Genesis all the time. Most of it's loose cart. I did get one thing in box, not complete. I'm going to have to track down the manual, but I grabbed some stuff that I'm very excited for. First up is The Lost World Jurassic Park. Now, I featured this in my Best Games Every Year the Sega Genesis Was Active video from a couple of weeks ago, and I emulated it. I had never played it before. If it's a Jurassic Park game, I wasn't really excited about it, but I'll be damned if this game isn't fantastic. And I added it to the collection. I'm very excited to have it. It's just super fun. With the exception of the one that's in the clamshell, the rest of these were either bought just to have, were given to me as a gift, or were ones that I picked up for the panel. So starting things off with Vector Man, which is a great game and one that is just kind of signature Genesis experience. I think it looks incredible, and the gameplay is really fun. It feels like a classic Genesis game, and well, that's because it is. I also grabbed a game that is a little bit Alex Kidd, a little bit... No, it's a lot Alex Kidd. We're just going to go with that, and that is Kid Chameleon. This is one that I had never played this on the original release, I actually played this on the Sega Genesis Classic when it dropped, the mini console that dropped a few years ago, and I really liked it. It's not my favorite game on the list, but it was one that I picked up for the panel because it was cheap. And it's a classic game for a reason, and I'm very excited to have it. The label's in great shape, the pins look good. Really stoked to add it. Next up, and this is one I'm shocked I didn't own, but it's one that I've got in multiple different ways. I've got it in compilation discs, I've got it on compilation cartridges on the Switch, I've got it on the Sega Genesis Classic, I've got it on Steam, so I don't really feel the need to own the actual cartridge, but as it is one of my favorite games, I picked this up from my friend Jay Gaming. Josh is an awesome guy, he's got a great table at pretty much every convention I go to, and this is ToeJam and Earl. Now, ToeJam and Earl is one of my all-time favorite roguelikes. It is just a brilliant title, just so much fun to play. I think it's awesome. It's just super cool, man. It's just a fun game. I know a lot of people don't like it, but even if you don't like the gameplay, you cannot deny how awesome the soundtrack is. Next up, one of the all-time greats. Had to have this one. I wanted it originally on the Super Nintendo, but I decided to go with it on the Genesis because why not? It is, after all, the summer of Sega. So adding Zombies Ate My Neighbors to the collection, no complaints. Very excited. It's a classic game for a reason. The cartridge is in a little bit kind of gross shape. I'm definitely gonna have to clean it up, but I got it for a very cheap price. I got it for under 15 bucks, which is a very, very good deal for this game. This one I have to cover because there's a sticker with a phone number on it, and I don't want to call poor Taylor here if that number is still active, but this is Cool Spot, one of the best licensed games released on the Genesis. Now, I know some of you might roll your eyes at that because it is a game featuring a soda mascot, but trust me when I tell you, if Pepsi Man has taught us anything, soda mascots can make for great games, and Cool Spot is an excellent title. Oh, next, this one's awesome. This is legit one of my favorite games. Yeah, we're gonna do this one second to last on this one. Sorry. We're gonna jump now. Doing another licensed game, and this is one I discovered when I was doing my Simpsons ranking video that I did not expect to be good because it's a Simpsons game. But this is Krusty's Super Funhouse, and legitimately one of my favorite moments from reviewing all those games was discovering how incredible this title is. It's a brilliant puzzle game. It's a puzzle platformer, and you need to play it if you haven't done so. This was a gift from my friend Justin, and I have a very soft spot in my heart for this game because it is so ridiculous, it is so stupid, and it's so wonderful. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a wonderful game. Just follow my logic on this one. This is Shaq Fu. It's 1000% for the memes, but man, I gotta tell you, I played this game when it originally released, and I have memories of playing it at my friend's house because our friend Phil would do voices for everybody in all the cutscenes. And it was just ridiculous and fun and wonderful, and hey, why not? Shaq Fu, right? Here's one that I had to have, one I had to add to my collection because it's a little bit road rash, it's a little bit extreme skating, and this is Skitchin'. It's a game where you are going through different cities, you're beating the crap out of other rollerbladers, you're grabbing the back of vehicles and moving along. I've featured this a couple of times on the channel. It's just such an obscure game and such a weird departure for things that EA normally did at the time. Just had to have it, and it's one of my favorite memories as a kid was renting this game a lot because I thought it was just such a neat idea. And it still plays great today, and very excited to add this back to the collection. All right, next up, the one that I said we're going to do second to last. This is legitimately one of my favorite Genesis games. It's one that I got for a fairly good price because the label's a little bit beat up, and there's a sticker on the back of it that won't come off, but Rocket Knight Adventures, if you have not played this one, you need to. It's brilliant. It's well worth trying. It's well worth playing. Very, very, very happy to add this to my collection just because of how amazing it is. And one thing that I did not expect to pick up, I was not really looking for, but I do tend to get excited when I see a not for resale sticker on something just because maybe it's just because I feel like I'm being bad. I'm doing something that's against the law, but Streets of Rage 2, not for resale. Very, very, very excited to find this. Does not have the manual. We'll definitely be looking for that. But to add one of the greatest beat-em-ups back to my collection, this is one I owned when I was younger. I did have a not-for-resale copy. I'm very, very happy to have this just based on how great of a game it is. And, God, the soundtrack is incredible. And just, you can't go wrong with Streets of Rage. Like, there's nothing in Streets of Rage that misses. It's just perfect from top to bottom. And that was the Midwest Gaming Classic, my favorite trade show of the year. It is a testament to everything that anyone that goes to that show does that it's something that as soon as it's done, I'm immediately thinking about the next year and what I can do to make the experience better. Really looking forward to going back next year. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to be back in Milwaukee, a town I adore, a place I love to be, at a show that is just second to none, with some of my best friends in the world, and my wife and my son. It's perfect in every single way. Let me know in the comments down below if you're at MGC. If we spoke and I didn't mention you in this video, I apologize, but let me know down here if we did. I would love to talk to you again. Love to see you down the road, and just let me know what your favorite moment was at the show. Future Jay here, breaking in because I want to show you one of my favorite moments from the show now. What you got there, Chris?
I got a sculptor's cut.
And how close does that put you to a complete N64 set?
On the US set, I think I need 9 more.
And we
For
have
the global set, it's less than 70.
And we have the awesome folks from GamePond to thank for this. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.
He's gonna try and tackle you over.